of Block to Block Podcast, the best podcast in the world for all things Web3. Here we talk about how we break down the technology, what's going on in the market, and the ways in which you can benefit. I am the majestic Mamadou.
And I am the debonair Derek.
Man, and over here, man, the talk is different.
Always, always.
Always.
Yes,
Man,
sir.
Derek, how you feeling, brother? You looking good.
Hey man, listen, dog. They had me down for a couple weeks. I know, that the last couple weeks y'all was probably saying, man, this brother here is struggling. Struggle bus. So I had to pop out today for y'all, man, because what I'm saying, look good, feel good, what I'm
Hmm.
saying, and other people can see that, feel that, and what I'm saying, feed off of that. So had to pop out. Episode
Absolutely.
4. It's a celebration.
Whew. Yeah, this is going to be a historic episode, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Major,
yeah.
major. We
Got the
got
tea
major
going.
news. We got the tea. I already drunk my water and honey, so I'm good,
Okay,
man. I'm feeling,
okay.
I'm feeling nice.
Facts, facts, facts. That's all that matter. That's all that matter. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a historic day, man. I'm excited. You know, it feels different today. Something's in the air. I think everybody has been waiting on this day. So we're excited to get into it, man. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Right, man. And for and the news is something that we've been talking about since episode 1. Ethereum has finally completed the merge, meaning they went
Right.
from officially they went to Ethereum 2.0, which
Okay.
is all about them switching from a proof of work protocol to a proof of stake protocol.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for those of you that are still new to this blockchain world, this Web3 world, proof of work is the original, if you will, way of the blockchain. Right. So what it is to validate the transactions on the blockchain, you would have to do some mathematical calculations, and once you solve that mathematical calculation, you then reserve the right to validate the transaction, which as a result you would receive some crypto,
Yep.
right? Bitcoin, and in the case of Ethereum, ETH. And so, that was a great starting point for the blockchain world, and they kicked it off, and the technology was definitely revolutionary, right? But the downfall of that is the energy consumption that came with it. And
Mm,
and that's what we've been seeing a lot of flack in terms of blockchain technology has been the environmental or potential environmental impact of the technology,
yep.
right? And so we've talked about it in previous episodes. We have businesses that are saying, hey, we don't want that type of uh, technology, within our ecosystem. Going back to the Hetzner conversation, we have governments that are mulling over the potential of banning proof of work blockchains, right? They probably barely know what a blockchain is, but they do know and have heard about proof of work and the impact that it may have. So, proof of work, although it is a great technology and is the originator, the original, there were some downfalls, right? And so with that, Ethereum has made the decision and has completed that step in the Ethereum merge from moving from proof of work to proof of stake. And what proof of stake is a similar it has a similar concept to it, right? You're still validating transactions, but this time the proof of stake uses validators. So trying to make it as simple as possible, you have to stake ETH, which is the Ethereum cryptocurrency, and if you stake enough ETH, you get the right to validate a transaction, right? And so there is some threshold of ETH that you have to hold. Staking it is pretty much uh, offering up your ETH
Mm-hmm.
to to process transactions, right? So basically, you're in a sense, I guess the most comparable thing is putting it up as collateral, right? So you're putting that ETH up for collateral so that the transaction can be validated. And so, that's really that difference between proof of work and proof of stake. And, what that does is with proof of work, why it was so expensive is those calculations, as you get longer in the blockchain, they become more complex because you don't have to solve one. You have to solve basically all of the algorithms all the way back to the first transaction. So that takes a lot of computing power. That takes a lot of energy to, keep that hardware cool, right? We don't hear a lot about the hardware side of it, but to run so much software to process, the hardware has to stay cool, or that technology will blow up. Right, it'll burn out. So this is huge. This is huge. And so, what we want to do with our conversation today is just talk about, what does that really mean, right? I mean,
absolutely.
We're hearing, little things here and there about, oh, this is going to be huge. It's going to lower gas fees, and Ethereum is going to work better. There's not going to be need for L2s or side chains, and so we want to bring some clarity around, what does that really mean?
Absolutely, right? Yeah, and that was a dope breakdown, right? And the easiest, simplest way to remember proof of work versus proof of stake, I like to remember it like this: proof of work, everybody and their moms is trying to compete for the right to validate that transaction, which is why we have that huge energy consumption need, right? Because everybody's solving the mathematical equations to ruin the right. Whereas the proof of stake is just to put up and shut up, right? He or she with the most amount of bread or the most amount of crypto wins the right to be the validator.
Big bank take little bank.
Big bank take little bank. But yeah, man, like let's definitely talk about the impact of the merge. Like, so as we mentioned last episode, just to tie that conversation again, when we talked about the United States White House report on the environmental impact of crypto assets. So once again, what we found as of last month, crypto assets being like blockchain networks, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, everything that comes within this Web3 world has a huge environmental impact because of that proof of work protocol. Bitcoin and Ethereum was the biggest perpetrators of that, right? Where anywhere from 120 billion kilowatts to 240 billion kilowatts of energy was being used. More energy than single countries like Argentina, Australia, and Ireland. Now,
Ethereum, I mean, some of those countries not little countries, so that's crazy. That's crazy.
At all. And what's great about Ethereum making this move was because that report said Ethereum was like 30% of this energy consumption, right? Now Ethereum is at a proof of stake protocol where proof of stake doesn't even take up 1%. It's like a percentage of 1% of that total 120 to 240 billion kilowatts of energy.
That's a big difference.
It's huge because, bro, Ethereum is the number 2 cryptocurrency, is the second biggest player within this entire space. Right. Bitcoin's the first.
Yeah, and the other piece of that too is that people are building on Ethereum.
Yeah, right? It has this entire ecosystem, man.
Right, like Bitcoin is solely it's solely a fungible token platform, if you will. Right, it's solely for you to hold this Bitcoin. It's a similar to stock, cash, whatever, however you want to play it or call it. Versus Ethereum, it was created to create an ecosystem, and that ecosystem honestly is only growing, right? As more people get into it. Mama, I don't know if you remember the number, but I know we talked about this before. Like it's some crazy number, right? Like the internet adoption right now is maybe like 70 or 80% of
51%
51%.
globally.
Right now, Web3 technology is at 4%. Right there, or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. It's 4%.
4%, right? So, man, there's still so much more, that is going to be built out on Ethereum within their ecosystem. And other blockchains as well, but Ethereum being the biggest, being that one that we think of when it comes to dapps or decentralized applications, and the DAOs that come from that, and these other cryptocurrencies that have been created out of that. This is huge for them to move to proof of stake. Like you said, like, I mean, man, if they kept that proof of work, who knows what, that consumption probably have been, more than the world, more than every country.
Right.
Right.
Especially for Ethereum to grow at the pace that it wants to, right? And that's why this is important. Like, so I think what we want to do, Derek, is like talk about like what for effect is going to happen, and like some misconceptions people may have, because there's conversations about things like
Yeah.
transaction speeds, gas fees, and the whole 9 yards. So I want to like kick it off, just talk about transaction speeds. So Ethereum is the number one dapp ecosystem, decentralized application ecosystem, right? Meaning things such as NFTs, um, different platforms that are built upon the Ethereum ecosystem. Like Ethereum is the number one platform, or the number one ecosystem for that, right? That's where
Yep.
you see the most amount of growth, especially with like NFTs, right? The majority of NFTs were made on the Ethereum blockchain.
Right.
So,
Right.
however, the downside of that proof of work protocol, once again, proof of work, everybody and their moms is competing for the ability to validate that transaction on the blockchain. Huge energy consumption. It was slow, man. It was really slow. Ethereum was only able to make 20 transactions per second. Now, you're like, okay, that TPS score, transaction per second, doesn't sound too crazy. But when you look at their biggest competitors, Solana, 65,000 transactions per second. Cardano, 250 transactions per second. Like Cardano, which has less volume of NFTs and whatnot, was operating at a 10x speed of Ethereum, 10x plus more, right?
Right. Right.
So that was the issue. Ethereum was having this lower transaction speed because of that proof of work model. But now that they're at a proof of stake, like that transaction speed can definitely be more comparable to the competitors, like people who've been branding themselves as the Ethereum killers, right? So imagine that if
Yeah.
you're already the second biggest
Yeah.
cryptocurrency and the biggest dapp platform, and now your transaction speed is even higher.
Right. Well, that's actually so, and I think that's a good point that you make, and I want to just point something out for the people, is that is not an immediate impact from this
Right.
change, right? So you'll hear a lot of people talk about the same things Mamadou just said, but it's still because of, and what Mamadou was saying, that high competition for validations, for processing transactions. There's still going to be some time for the Ethereum network to really get to that point where it's like, hey, we're comparable, our speed is comparable to Cardano or comparable to Solana, nowhere near comparable to Solana. And I don't think it'll be close, anytime in the near future. But this move opens up that avenue for that. But great point. Great point. So I just wanted to call that out. We want to give y'all the real on here. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure y'all know what's really going on.
We should just call this segment fact or cap.
Fact or cap.
Fact or cap, Derek. Gas fees. Gas fees are going to be hella low now.
Big cap for the same reason. Big cap.
Well, what's the gas fee? Let's start there.
Okay. Shoot, the gas fee, man. Gas fees. Mm-mm-mm. Gas fees. It's making me think about real gas. And it's also making me think about the struggles of purchasing on Ethereum because of gas fees. I mean, man, honestly, you could think of gas fees as the Ethereum tax. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It is basically the ETH that you pay to get your transaction validated,
Mm-hmm.
right? For your transaction to be processed. And you know, a lot of people complained about it because it got pretty high. And that's because Ethereum is, again, the largest platform, the largest blockchain network. Um, so again, that competition is high, man. That competition is high to get those transactions processed. And you know, it's definitely capped that it's gonna get lowered because although they moved to proof of stake, they still got a lot of people that's on that Ethereum network. And again, it's growing by the day, by the second, by the hour. Um, but I think what's Ethereum has thought about, honestly, is the fact that, you know, there is some bottlenecks with the technology, right?
Right.
Like there are some shortcomings, and they've embraced, which I love. They've embraced this collaborative spirit, right? I feel like that's the spirit of Web3 is collaboration and community and open source and, you know, free movement of information and technology and innovation. Which is why I feel like, you know, we kind of, you know, started getting into it and fell in love with it, if you will,
Yeah.
because of uh, you know, that sentiment within the Web3 world. Um, so yeah, it's you know, Ethereum knows that the to survive, for this thing to become bigger, they're gonna need those layer twos and those side chains to come
Mm.
in and solve some of that bottleneck that they have. So I think you know, gas fees, that's not gonna change. It's still gonna be you know, particularly high. But you know, there are the side chains, there are L2s, there are other ways that you can kind of get around that. And Ethereum is not stopping you or stopping them from doing that, right? Like that they're doing pretty much almost everything in their power to make sure that it's easier for you to access those L2s and those L2s work efficiently.
Right.
Um, so there are ways around that. So the misconception is the gas fees are going to get lower. Don't believe that. Cap, big cap,
Mm-hmm.
super cap.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But what you should do, look into layer twos,
Yep.
like your immutable X, your
Polygon.
polygons, which is more of a side chain than an L2, but still in a similar fashion where where Polygon is solving some of those bottleneck issues. It's
Dope.
solving those
Dope.
bottleneck issues for sure. Mama, do you want to talk a little bit about just the impact? I think that's where, you know, that this comes to mind for me from here is, you know, what is the impact, man? What give the people some things to walk away with where they're like, okay, I understand now why this merge happened, why it's important, how this is going to impact me getting into blockchain technology, like what that looks
Mm-hmm.
like. If I'm like a creator, if I'm an entrepreneur, like
Right.
what does this merge really mean? Because I feel like everybody is talking about, oh, the merge is gonna be so important. You know, it's huge. Just
How is it
like
going to be
Bitcoin.
important? It's just going to be important.
Right. So what? Let the people know what does this mean?
Yes, for all my creatives, entrepreneurs, businesses, culture makers, anybody who's looking at blockchains to use, right?
Lawyers.
Lawyers, anybody, right? Everybody who believes in this technology or is interested in this technology. The merge really helps with Ethereum's long-term sustainability, right? Because as we mentioned last week, from like the environmental impact to just like how nodes are kind of centralized here in the US for Ethereum, like 44% of the nodes are here in the US. Like government is thinking about banning crypto mining, proof of work once again.
Yeah.
Now it's conversations that have come up. Nothing's definitive yet. But if 44% of the nodes of Ethereum was here in the US and they banned proof of work and Ethereum was still in proof of work, that would have had a huge negative impact on the network. But now we don't have to worry
Yeah.
about that from the environmental friendly standpoint. I think another thing we're going to see as well are like more larger players, more larger corporations start to adopt Ethereum, which is going to allow for more bread or more capital to come into the play and more development of this ecosystem. So from a long-term perspective, Ethereum's definitely a blockchain that you can definitely consider to
Mm.
use. You know, still look into your alternatives like a Solana or a Cardano or anything else of that nature. However, Ethereum has really positioned itself to be a lot more sustainable for the future. And also, in terms of like the cryptocurrency, quick disclaimer, we're not financial advisors. This is not financial advice, just something educational. Like with Ethereum becoming a lot more efficient as a platform, that cryptocurrency may have an increase just because of like the consumed use of Ethereum, right? As we
Yeah.
think about the long term.
Yeah.
So overall, man, like Ethereum set themselves up to be a lot more of a safer bet if you're trying to decide upon which blockchain you want to use for your own projects.
It ain't going away.
Oh no.
Hey, Ethereum is here to stay. They said we're gonna cement this right now.
Hmm.
Right now.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
need
man.
it, too, so it's dope.
And you know, too, to add to that, this is not the end all be all. This was not the end goal for Ethereum. This was the first step in the right direction, right? And so there's more to come from Ethereum. This was essentially step one, right? So after this, Vitalik has actually talked about this. There are 3 to 4 more. Let me put the fingers in there. 3 to 4 more steps coming after this. We got the surge, the
Mm,
verge, the purge, the splurge, right? And what each of those steps are gonna do is bring Ethereum more and more into into its full self, full capacity. So right now, people explain Bitcoin as 80% complete, right?
mhm,
Vitalik himself has said that, if you know Vitalik is, he is the founder, one of the founders of Ethereum. He said, and the leader, if you will, he said that Ethereum is at about 40%, and that was before the merge. After the merge, it's at about 55%,
mhm,
right? So with the surge, what they really want to accomplish is to implement scaling solutions, and with that, improve L2s and make it easier to operate nodes, right? So their hope is, and what they're aiming to do, I should say, their goal is to take that transaction speed, like we talked about before, from 15 to 20 TPS, or transactions per second, to 100,000 transactions per second,
that's
right?
larger than Solana's.
You see what I'm saying? So that is the next step for them, is starting to focus on that scaling solution, what they call sharding,
Mhm,
and really providing a better, more efficient ecosystem, right? So not only are they hoping that they can magically make the network move faster, they're saying we're going to make sure that our system works in a way that layer twos can easily work and connect with the network. And 100,000 is what they say, and there could be more, right? As not only Ethereum gets better, but also those layer twos may get better as well, right? And if honestly, guys, we may do a segment on the layer twos because that's huge as well. But whole nother conversation. So after the surge, we got the Verge, which that and this one is for you, Mama Dude. This one is for you. Since you was sending shots, at Ethereum
I
Vitalik,
was
man.
speaking facts,
Nah.
not shots. It is
My
what it
man was
is.
sending shots. Hey, if y'all didn't take a listen, man, go back. I want to say 2 episodes ago, episode number 2,
Yeah,
Mom Dude was throwing shots.
respectfully.
But respectfully, it was respectfully. But the Verge is all about expanding the number of users that can be validators, right? Making the platform more decentralized, right? So taking out some of those barriers to being a validator, right? So that it's not a small group. Because right now, to be a validator, I want to say you need 32 ETH, right? So that's $32,000. Right, at its current price, and that's not even its top price, is what you need to stake and become a validator.
It's to put up or set up protocol.
And, right, and that may not change, but what changes with having more nodes, more people being able to be validators, is that you can set up communities. More communities can be set up, right? It wouldn't just be those big institutions who have the capital, or the crypto bros who are in it early, who again have the capital. You can have more people come in and be validators and take part in Ethereum. So that'll hopefully achieve more of what Mamadou wants. So what you think about that? How you feel about that?
I think that's a great move in the right direction, because going back to episode 2, when we talked about Hesna, who said, crypto mining, crypto staking is not tolerated on our platform, and they may kick off Ethereum. 16% of their nodes is still vulnerable, right? So let's still remember that. So if Ethereum is able to create pathways in which more nodes can become validators, more people, more organizations can become validators, that presents opportunity for you all who may operate within this whole computing space, right? So I think that's a great way for Ethereum to become more decentralized, because, as I mentioned again in episode 2, Morgan Stanley, not me, Morgan Stanley talked about how Ethereum is less decentralized than Bitcoin. So if they are able to continuously make these steps and increase their decentralization rate, it only helps with their long-term sustainability.
Yep. Well, I'm glad they could make you happy. That's all we want to do is make Mom do happy. So I'm glad they could do that. You know what I'm saying? But for sure, man. So that's great news. That's good to hear that this is in their plans. They're thinking about this, and from there, they want to continue building upon that. So the purge is the next step, right? So cutting down the amount of space you'll need to run the blockchain, furthering its accessibility, lowering its footprint, and hopefully again increasing decentralization even more, right? I mean, we need the blockchains. We need Ethereum. We need any other ones, the L2s, whatever it is, Cardano, Solana. We need that to be accessible to more people, to the little people that may not fully understand it or not have the capabilities to fully participate within this blockchain ecosystem. We need them to get involved too, right? Just like the internet, and they will be at some point. It's not even that just a want, like it will happen. We're seeing. We'll talk a little bit about it later in this episode, but we're seeing people. So by people, I mean big businesses. Already start to incorporate blockchain technology, and who knows where it goes from here. So that's the purge. Is really again getting more to that decentralization, accessibility, lowering footprint. And last is the splurge. I know y'all been waiting for this one. We have no clue what the splurge is. No clue at all. But you know, if we're being honest, I mean, even Vitalik kept it vague, but time will tell, right? And if I were to give my best bet about the splurge, it's gonna focus on bringing more people into Web3, right? So focus on helping people make the transition from Web2 to Web3, focusing more on accessibility, efficiency. You know, I think that him saying the splurge is just a blanket statement and basically saying like, this is what we're focusing on now with the surge, the verge, the purge. And, you know, there's a splurge, which is like this next iteration of Ethereum and what's to come. So, you know, definitely stay on top of it. Listening on Block to Block. We'll continue to follow this. We'll make sure to bring you guys some clarity on what's going on in the market, what's going on with different blockchains. You know, Ethereum won't be the only blockchain that we cover. Polygon won't be the only side chain, L2 that we cover. There are many other players out there, and we're excited to be a part of following this and helping you to kind of understand what's going on, man. It's going to be a good one for sure.
Yeah, nothing but classics here. Every Thursday. We won't take no Thursday off, baby.
No Thursday off.
Shoot.
No
Every
Thursday
week.
Off.
Well, yeah, thank you for that, Derek. Like, that was a great conversation about just what's going on with Ethereum. You know, it's probably like the biggest news. Actually, it is the biggest news right now in the space.
Oh yeah, so. That's why we spent 30 minutes on it.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But yeah, so we don't want to keep you guys here too much longer, but we do have a couple more topics to lay into. The first one we want to talk about is Starbucks, right? So I saw you drinking your little coffee. Well, you're drinking tea right now.
Tea, yeah.
Tea.
Especially made. You know how we do in this household.
Right. But Starbucks, man. Starbucks has shook the Web3 world because they announced 2 days ago that they're launching their Starbucks Odyssey program, which is their NFT collection. So Starbucks Odyssey will be the loyalty rewards program. Next iteration. So you know at Starbucks, like you get rewards points for like patronizing them. Like if you buy a certain amount of products, you get a certain amount of points, and that gets benefits.
Yep.
They're taking that same model, but they're using NFTs to power that. And guess who they're partnering with?
Don't say it.
Polygon.
Polyjizzle.
Polygon.
Hey man. They doing it big, bro. They got Disney, they got Starbucks. Hold up. I think we might be doing something right.
They got Timbuktu, the most important Web3 physical NFT platform, the first ever physical NFT marketplace.
Ooh, tell me more.
Shoot, on Timbuktu, the Timbuktu.
Yeah.
Hit us up at thetimbuktu.com. It's a place where culture makers, entrepreneurs, and creatives can have physical NFTs, meaning NFTs are paired with physical products on the platform. You know what I'm saying? And Timbuktu uses Polygon, baby.
You know what I'm saying? And you can create in real life experiences. Get on it. Get on it now.
And you get to work with us directly because we're not just going to put you out in the middle of the sea for you to figure it out by yourself.
You know
we take a consultative approach to us.
You feel me? We gonna throw you in the water, but we gonna make sure you know how to backstroke. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Something slight.
You want to have the resources over at Timbuktu, baby.
Look.
But yeah.
Tell them.
But you know, Starbucks saw what we was doing.
We'll digress.
Starbucks saw what we was doing and was like, yo, we got to use Polygon as well. So what's dope about it is the Starbucks Odyssey program. And, you know, they have a wait list now that you can join.
Yeah.
they're going to have like this really dope gamified experience, right? Where you're going to get like an NFT to note your membership within the Odyssey program. And
Okay.
as you do things such as you patronize Starbucks, as you do things like you complete Starbucks journeys, which are like gamified
Mm,
experiences to learn more about coffee and learn more about the Starbucks brand, you'll be able to earn more digital NFTs. And
wow.
you have the ability to even sell those NFTs within their marketplace. So
Wow.
as they mentioned, they are looking to really they position themselves as the third home, the third place, right? Like we spend
Hmm.
most of our time at home or at work, and Starbucks says the third place is us at Starbucks, which is true. A lot of people go to Starbucks.
It makes
A
sense.
lot of
People go.
professionals go there.
Yep. Yep. Work, get their coffee, maybe take a meeting. I mean, that makes sense. It's a, which is funny because it's like in every community, but it's a staple when it's there. It's a staple of the community. It's a gathering space.
Right.
That makes sense.
And I mean, and they even position themselves as the positive sign of change in a community, right? Like, oh, when you have Starbucks, you know there's going to be development in such and such community, right? So
I ain't
that's
gonna,
another
I ain't
conversation.
gonna, I look, I ain't gonna talk about that. Hey, don't
That's
get me
another
going.
combo.
Don't get me going.
But what's important to note here is that Starbucks recognizes the importance of the digital experience, the
Right.
Web3 experience, and they see
Right.
Web3 as integral to their ongoing growth and development. And
Yeah.
so, with this Odyssey program, once again, they're going to have their own marketplace in which you can buy and sell these NFTs. They're going to have
Mhm.
a loyalty program or a rewards program in which you get NFTs for completing game like experiences and for learning more and patronizing them. So,
Okay.
this
Okay.
is, as they describe, the largest at scale model of this Polygon use case, right?
That's
And
dope.
Polygon, man,
That's dope.
it was great news for them. Like they saw a surge in terms of their cryptocurrency Matic. And
Okay.
it went up to like 93 cents at the announcement of this news. So
Got you.
yeah, it's definitely a great step in the right direction. And it's further validation of how the big players all see the use cases of Web3.
Yep. Yep. And best believe, they didn't just start looking at this year. This is something that they've been looking at a couple years now,
And
where, you
mhm,
know, they started building out this, hey, we got this whole thing we can do with it.
yeah.
So it's crazy to hear that it's interesting when, somebody like Starbucks makes a move like this, right? They see all the positive that NFTs and blockchain technology as a whole can have. Man, like get into it. Get into it. Do not get left behind.
Yeah.
We did some shameless plug before, but I'm a always shameless plug consistently and forever. Um, tap in with us, man. Tap in. Follow us at Relink Global at the Timbuktu. Reach out to us, hit us with questions. We'd love to talk more with you guys, talk with the community. Let us know, what you're doing, what you don't understand,
Mhm.
why you don't think this technology is going to work. Like we want to hear everything from you guys so we can talk about it, right? Like this is a
Right.
conversation. Right now it's a conversation between me and Mamadou, but we wanna broaden this conversation so that we're talking to everybody, so that any questions that we have, we can talk about it. Any question that you have, we can talk about it. And not only that we can answer it, but other people can come in and give their perspective as well, right? So definitely, tune in on Thursdays, leave comments on YouTube, hit us up on Instagram at Relink Global, at the Timbuktu. And Timbuktu is spelled. Show the people how Timbuktu is spelled, Mama Do.
TIMBUCKTOO.
Exactly. So hit us up, man. Definitely. We'll be looking forward to you guys, giving us some feedback and giving us your questions.
Right. A couple more things I want to say about this topic. And,
Yeah.
And you know me, I'm a pretty humble guy. I'm not braggadocious or anything of that nature. However,
He's not. He's not.
Starbucks bid us. So
I'm
this is
just
what I'm talking about.
saying.
This is what I'm talking
I'm
about, right?
just saying. Like, I'm not
So
saying we know what
peep
we
this, peep
talking
this,
about, but
peep this. So one of the partners that we're working with is called Streetwear Connections. They're going
yeah,
to be the number one platform for all things streetwear, from exclusive sneakers, apparel, jewelry, etc. Right?
and
And
even
they're
experiences.
and experiences as well. You know, they have these really cool lounges.
Shout out to
They're
Drifter Lounge. Shout
Yeah,
out.
they have offices within Atlanta, Dallas, like all throughout the country, and they have
Yeah,
a huge, extensive network of companies who focus on different aspects of streetwear, fashion, and lifestyle.
yeah,
So, Streetwear Connections really dope. They partnering with us to do a NFT drop, and one of the first projects that we're dropping is the Streetwear Connections utility token, in which it has so many exclusive benefits. It is that NFT is the key for that VIP experience. And we had a rewards program that we're building in where you get
yeah.
points, you can get different NFT collectibles to as rewards for your participation, patronization, having games, all types of stuff.
And first access to exclusive shoes, right? Like exclusive streetwear, I should say, in general, not just sneakers, but also all types of streetwear. And man, it's gonna be really dope. And
Yeah.
yes, so you
They
got a
bid us,
point.
bro. So
You got a
one,
point.
before I forget, next week we're
Got a
doing a
point.
shock drop. That NFT will drop and be available for purchase on the Timbuktu.com. We'll give more details on our social. However, literally when I was reading this report, every single item, like their rationale for using Polygon, right? Because
Yeah,
they're going to use Polygon for the ability for people to use fiat currency. One of the reasons why we're using Polygon, they are building out a VIP or rewards loyalty type program that has all these aspects that allow you to get more NFTs. Literally the exact same plans that we came up with. So
yeah, yeah.
the reason why I'm saying that, I'm kind of being funny and facetious to a degree, right? By saying they bid us, right? But
Right.
I mean they did. But what's more important to note is any idea that you have that you yourself may feel as though, or people that like the critics will say, man, that's crazy, that'll never work. Because I'm pretty sure when we was describing and really building up this idea, like there were critics saying, man, I don't know, like NFTs, I'm used to just getting sneakers, I'm just used to doing this, I don't know about no VIP program. Starbucks, Fortune 500, multi-billion-dollar company, publicly available on the stock market, biggest in the coffee space, is doing the exact same idea that we're trying to execute with Streetwear Connections. This indicates it doesn't matter who has the idea first, it's all about execution. This technology will allow you to make all your quote unquote crazy ideas come into fruition. So please stop doubting yourself. Don't think any idea isn't innovative or it's stupid or whatever. Just execute it and work with us because, as we mentioned before, we want to take that consultative approach with everybody who works on our platform so that we can really build together. And that's all I got to say about Starbucks. Shout out to Starbucks. I was just
Yeah.
messing with y'all.
As they say in the streets, if you will, we'll call it that. Go with your move. Just go with your
Facts.
move. Just do it. What's stopping you? Yourself. Go with
Yep.
your move. Go with your move.
Don't block your own blessings.
Don't block your own blessings, boy.
Mm.
Don't block your own blessings.
You
Preach,
hear it first from Debonair Derek.
preach, preach.
Cool. Well,
Well,
you
shoot,
have anything
man.
else you want to say, man?
Well, man, no, man. Listen, I think that was great. I think that was great. Honestly, that's the free game for the day. If we being honest, I mean, listen,
Yeah.
don't block your blessings. Go with your move. Innovate. Don't be scared to innovate. These
Mhm.
companies are doing it, right, and they're making money. And to be honest, they're probably getting ideas from people who want to start their own businesses,
Absolutely.
right? But don't I don't want to say they're scared or they don't have to work like that. That's not it at all. We understand circumstances, but at the same time, if you have made that leap, right? If you are building your own business, if you are doing a side hustle and you're committed to that side hustle, if you will, um, go with your move, innovate. Don't be afraid to innovate. You have nothing to lose. And I don't
Exactly.
mean that as like, what you're doing is worthless and you don't have something precious that you can lose. What we're saying is that in innovating and trying something new and experimenting, you don't have anything to lose because you don't have the whole world looking at you, right? You have some grace. You are able to go in your community and really talk with your customers and really figure out what's working, what doesn't work. How can I make this better? How can I use this to be more competitive? Use that to your advantage. Use that to your
Mhm.
Starbucks is doing this thing, and for them, it's probably going to be you know a pretty bumpy road where we may not see all of that road, but what they don't have that you have is that access to your community and being able to talk with your people, and so go with your move. We're here to make Web3 more accessible, right? Our marketplace is the first step in that, but I would say before the marketplace, what we try to do is work with you to really understand how this technology can be applied. Um, so go with your move. We're here to help with understanding and access. So come and talk with us, or go talk with somebody else, right? What I'm saying, there are plenty of platforms out there. Of course, we want you guys to work with us, but we're not the only ones out there. There are other platforms, but definitely more than anything, innovate, go with your move, don't block your blessings. Free game.
Amen. Amen. Free game, free game. Cool. So to just wrap up this episode, we want to talk about overall what's going on within the market, specifically as we want to look at the NFT market, because that's a great indication of how overall adoption, overall transactions are going. So as we look into NFT space from the last, so remember last episode, we actually saw like a 300%, 300+% increase of overall sales volume
Shout
because
out
of what we
youths.
saw. Yep, with the Utes gang, right?
Shout out
Dust Labs,
youths.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now this week we did see a very significant decline in overall sales volume, where it dropped by 81.59% to a total of $33.28 million worth
Mm,
of NFT transactions. So,
mm,
yeah, we saw that decline again, and it's just representative of the times that we're in terms of it being a recession, right?
right.
However, once again, that does not mean don't become involved in the space,
Yeah.
because Starbucks, as we just mentioned, multi-billion-dollar company. You think these publicly traded companies are going to be making the wrong moves during recessions? No, they're trying to like set themselves up.
And I mean, you just said $20 million in transactions. I still think that's a pretty
33 million.
33 million. Oh, look, what was I listening to? 33 million in transactions still. So I mean, there's still movement. We saw last week somebody launched a project and that shot the number up, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
I second what you say.
Yep. And however, total sales, right, only dropped by 0.73%. And we had total sales of the last week of 54,464 sales as of this morning.
Okay.
So it's really the number of total sales only had a very slight decline. It's just the
Yeah.
overall value of those sales are steeping down. And once
Right.
again, that just indicates that for you to build your projects and your collections, really focus on having as much intrinsic value as possible built into your
Yeah.
NFTs, which could help, stabilize that price point. So that's one thing I wanted to note. I did want to talk about just the price of Ethereum.
Okay.
So the merge happened at like 2 a.m. this morning, and within the past hour, it had a slight increase to the overall
Okay.
price of the crypto. So,
Okay.
right, like the week prior, like we saw the price of Ethereum dip down by some percentage points. This morning, it went up by 0.28%. And as of this morning, Ethereum is worth $1,589.74.
Okay. Okay.
Now, I do believe personally that because of this huge media attention it's going to be receiving for the next couple of weeks,
Yeah.
we may see a uptick in that price. But Ethereum is just something. Once again, not financial advice, just personal opinions and education and facts. If you really believe in it for the long term, hey, it could be a great thing to have within your crypto portfolio.
Yeah. And this is something that I've heard a lot on EYL. And it's about being a financial historian, right? And if we were to look at the prices, right, at 5 years ago, Ethereum was at like $300, was like its high at that point in time. Now, its high has been, I want to say it got up to like,
4,800, something like
yeah, I'm about to say like 3,000, somewhere between 3 to 5,000, right? And then, a similar thing has happened with Bitcoin as well, right? Where like they're, um, you know, starting out 5 years ago, I think the highest was like 19,000, right? The high that recently we just experienced was 69,000, and now
that.
the low is 17,000, right? So seems like there is this constant trend upward, although that upward may be a bit volatile. You're still seeing, you know, today's price is not yesterday's price, right?
Shout out to Pat
So,
Joe.
you know what I'm saying? What was the high is now being the low,
Hmm.
right? So just something to keep in mind. Again, we're not financial advisors, but we want to give y'all constant game on how to understand what's going on in the market. And one of the best ways to do that is just look at its history, look at what it's done in the past, look at also what are the plans, right?
Hmm.
We talked a little bit earlier about Ethereum's plan. Definitely, look into Solana. They have some great plans. Cardano has, pretty great plans. I'm a fan of Cardano myself. Polygon, of course, that's one
Hmm.
that we've been going to bat for. So definitely just understand that there is still so much room for you to get involved. It is still super super early, and we'll see what else is to come. But what else do we have in the going on in the market? Is that the last piece you want to
Yeah,
get into?
those were the key things I want to
Okay.
highlight. But once again, if you want to get involved from that investing type outlook, remember, like, just because this is a new asset class doesn't mean the old rules no longer apply. You
Yep.
have to look at this from like a fundamental analysis, right? Like fundamental analysis, technical analysis, macroeconomic analysis, right? Shout out to EYO. They're really good at like highlighting all those aspects, but like understanding
Yeah.
what's the overall business plan for each of these projects, right? And your assessment of their likelihood of achieving those plans.
Yeah.
Get in at like really good prices. You never want to buy at the high. Try to get at the low,
Yeah.
and understand what's going on with the overall economy. Because, like we mentioned in, I want to say episode 2, we spoke about the impact of the Feds possibly raising rates once again. That had a huge impact on the price of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and that caused like a dip, right?
Yeah.
So definitely you want to protect yourself by being well educated. Don't just treat this anyhow, as my Africans like to say, and just be like, oh, I'm just throwing my money to it. Like, no, do your research. Think of it from like really sound business fundamentals, and don't make this the majority of your portfolio either, right? Like crypto is still very volatile overall. While we are Web3 enthusiasts, we believe in the space, we're not going to say, oh, bet everything on crypto. No, you need to have your
Right.
real estate, as the baby likes to call it. You need to have your stocks, you need to have some kind of business, you need to have your streams of income. So
Yeah,
protect yourself.
for sure. For sure. Man, well, I think that was a great episode, man. We're not gonna keep the people any longer, man. Thank you for giving us the market update, giving us that info on Starbucks, giving us that news. Man, I think we had a great show, and
Classic.
hey, man, this is one of them ones right here. With that, I'm gonna say Debonair Derek is out of here.
Man, and the majestic Mamadou is done, man. Remember, the talk is different.
Always.